Welcome everybody. This is parshas Behaaloscha. This is your parsha power app. In order to power up your parsha and your life, and of course your Shabbos. Here's just a few amazing gems from this week's parsha. It's quite a big parsha, a lot of topics involved. It's 136 sentences. Deals with a lot of things, and we'll try and see how many things we can get through. It starts off with the Levim, that Moshe was commanded to appoint the Levim to be the workers in the temple. And like we know, historically, it was actually supposed to be the firstborns that were meant to be working in the temple. The firstborns are always the strongest and always the leaders, and they were meant to be the ones to do the service in the temple. But as we know, it was the Levim that took that on. Kohen, Levi, they all came from Levim, so they were the ones that took on this job. And the question is why? So I saw a powerful idea from Rabbi Raymond Bader, and he said that like we know in the Torah, it says that after the golden calf, the story of the golden calf, Moses came down, he broke the tablets, and he said, whoever's to Hashem should come to me. And the people that answered were the Levim. And as a result of that, it wasn't the firstborns, it was Levim. And as a result of that, Hashem said, the Levim are going to be the ones to work in the temple. They're going to be the chosen ones to work in the temple. And so it's just a powerful idea of taking the right opportunities. A lot of times Hashem sends us opportunities for greatness. We should just be alert and be ready to take these opportunities, because you never know where these opportunities are going to lead us. In this case, when the opportunity, when Moshe said, whoever to Hashem should come to me, Levim took that opportunity, and look what became of them. They are our Kohanim and Levim. So it's a very powerful idea. Next idea, which is in the next chapter, chapter 9, sentence 1, is we have a very big parsha, the entire concept of Pesach Sheni, the second Pesach. Wow. What's the second Pesach? We all know about the first Pesach, and it's in April. What's the second Pesach? So, and the idea, like we know, we don't experience it these days, but on Pesach there's 3 mitzvahs. There's having matzah, having maror, also the cups of wine, whatever it is, but it's mainly having matzah, having maror, and then historically, when the temple was still around, they also brought the Korban Pesach, the Pesach sacrifice. And for that, they needed to be pure. They couldn't have touched a dead person. And during the first Pesach in the desert, so there was a lot of people that were impure. They had touched dead bodies for whatever reason, and they didn't have time to make themselves pure. So they came to Moshe and they said, "It's not fair. We also want to bring the Korban Pesach. We also want to bring the Pesach sacrifice. We really, really want it. How is it fair that just because we're impure that we can't bring it?" So Hashem saw how much they really wanted it. Moshe went to Hashem and told him, what must I do? And Hashem said, you know what, in a month's time, we're going to have Pesach Sheni, the second Pesach, and that's when they could bring the Korban, they could bring the Pesach sacrifice. So we just see it's a very powerful idea that because they wanted this, they were able to get an entire mitzvah added to the Torah. God Himself gave an entire new commandment that would last forever and ever, just because of their wanting. It's a very powerful idea that a lot of times we think that we're not able. We're not able. In their case, they weren't able because they were impure. It's not true. It's because it's because we don't want. It's a very powerful idea that when we want something, Hashem will make sure that we have it. Rabbis always say the place that a person wants to go, that's where Hashem will bring them. And we can understand this because just like if a father sees that a son really wants something, so he really, really wants it, the father will move heavens and earth, mountains. The father will literally move mountains in order to make it work. So too with Hashem loves us like a father. If we really want it, Hashem will make it work for us. This is also a concept we actually see at the beginning of the parasha, because the beginning of the parasha, first sentence speaks about Aaron having the commandment of doing the menorah, doing the candles in the temple, and the rabbis say, what's the connection between this of Aaron lighting the candles to what happened in last week's parasha of the prophets bringing the inaugural sacrifices. When they inaugurated the temple, the leaders, the Nasim, they were the ones that brought it. They brought the inaugural sacrifices. So what's the connection between that and the beginning of this week's parasha, which Aaron was lighting the menorah? So the answer they say is because Aaron saw that the leaders of the tribes were bringing the inaugural sacrifices, and he got very jealous. He felt very bad. He also wanted to do that, and Hashem said, don't worry, because in future the Jews are going to inaugurate the temple again, and that was in the times of Hanukkah. And what was the mitzvah? The mitzvah was, how did they inaugurate it? They inaugurated with the lighting of the menorah. So that was Aaron's, as a result of Aaron wanting the inauguration, feeling bad about the inauguration, he also got that later on. So we see the power of wanting. There's another powerful idea in chapter 9, sentence 19, is that we speak about the Jews traveling in the desert. It's always Api Hashem, Yachnu Api Hashem. So the Jews, it was according to when Hashem's mouth told them to rest, they rested. When Hashem told them to move, they moved. Like we know, the desert, the Jews traveling in the desert is a kind of metaphor for us traveling in life, and people traveling in life, and sometimes they have times when they're in a comfortable time for a short time. Sometimes they'll be in comfortable time for a long time. But it also could be, unfortunately, sometimes they're in difficult times for a long time. But it's always important to know that just like in the deserts, Api Hashem, Yachnu Api Hashem Nasau, that it's on Hashem's mouth that they rested, on Hashem's mouth that they moved. So too, in our own life, no matter whether we're here in the good times for short or long, or difficult times for long, it's always, whenever we moved from different time periods in our life, it is always Api Hashem. It's always because of Hashem. Next idea to give is that it says in chapter 11, sentence 1, so it says over there that it was when the nation were like complainers, it was bad in the ears of Hashem. And when the nation were complainers, it was bad in the ears of Hashem. What do you mean? Complaining is always bad. Why do you have to tell me it was bad in the ears of Hashem? I should have just said that the nation was complaining. Who cares it was bad? Of course that's bad in the ears of Hashem. No, Hashem, of course, He doesn't like complainers. It sounds as if that there's complaining that's good, and therefore the Torah needed to tell you, this complaining was bad. So what do you mean? What kind of complaining is good? So the honest truth is that there is a complaining that's good, and that's when it's constructive complaining. Always think complaining is bad. Yeah, complaining is bad because most of us use complaining when we're angry and we just want to vent or things like that. But if a person's calm and collected and he thinks about it first and he sees that the complaining will be constructive, so it actually is very good to complain. Complaining could lead to a lot of good things, but obviously, like everything in life, it needs to be balanced, it needs to be thought out. Just at the end of the parasha, there's so much in this parasha. At the end of the parasha, we have the story of Miriam, who spoke Lashon Hara. She gossiped about Moshe. Like we know, because of that, she got tzarat, she got leprosy, she got punished because she spoke Lashon Hara about Moshe. And we actually have a commandment that we're meant to remember this all our days of our life. The fact that Hashem, and the fact that Miriam spoke Lashon Hara and she got punished. It's just quite interesting that it's quite interesting that the quintessential case, the main case that the Torah gives for what happens to somebody who speaks Lashon Hara is something that involves siblings. Maybe it could have said enemies, that could have been the main case. But maybe it's not a question, but I still think the lesson is true. That I believe that the reason why the Torah chose siblings is because sometimes we feel very comfortable with our siblings, and they love us and we love them, and like we're so close. Like, why can't I speak bad about them? Why can't I speak bad about them? But the Torah is saying that over here you have two siblings, Moshe and Miriam. Miriam was Moshe's sister, and she spoke Lashon Hara about her sibling, and that was something that was so bad that she got punished in the desert, and she had to go away from everybody because she got leprosy, tzarat, and but that's so we see, and that's what we have to remember, is that specifically with Miriam, who's speaking Lashon Hara about her sibling, that's God's punishment. We must always remember, take it very close to heart, that we mustn't be too comfortable with speaking Lashon Hara about our siblings. And I think this also applies to, sometimes we also feel like, oh, they're just our siblings, we can just tease them, make jokes about them, but you have to also bear that in mind, that sometimes it's quite hurtful for our sibling when we do that. So, wishing everyone an amazing Shabbos, and only good about that we should only also speak only good about all our siblings, like all our Jews. We are all one big family, and we're all siblings. That could be another reason why Lashon Hara, the main case was about siblings.